guys, so sorry for the awkward lighting and awkward angle, but I am sitting outside waiting for Zach. So I thought it'd be a good time just to sit and have a little chit chat video. We did just get done filming the controversial parenting tag, so if that's up, it should be before this video, then go watch it. So that's why I'm in the same outfit, but he just went inside for a minute, so I thought I would just do a quick video. So today I'm going to be doing a C-section storytime video about my C-section experience, and I'm going to go into detail like why I had the C-section and all that in this too. Yeah, so I'm going to start at 24 weeks when I did the last update video because things took a change in my pregnancy, and that's why I didn't have any update videos or really much filming from that point on. And the video I did post, I'm pretty sure was a pre-filmed one, so yeah. So on August 26th was when that video was posted. I was finishing my 24th week of pregnancy and I was almost 25 weeks pregnant. I had the same symptoms from that video until October 6th. So I had like a month of it. So on October 6th, I went and walked in the Alzheimer's walk downtown, and afterwards we went out to the spaghetti factory, and then I went home with a headache that was not like going away. It was gradually just getting really bad, and it was so bad where I couldn't breathe. Like, it felt like it was just, my whole body was just hurting from my headache. Like, it just felt like it was taking over my body. I don't know if that makes sense. And then I started throwing up from the pain of the headache. I couldn't sleep. I tried to take a nap. Like, I literally couldn't do anything. So I went into the hospital, and before this, I did have 2 blood pressure readings that were high at my doctor's office. Like, they weren't like extremely high, but they were high, so they were just gonna keep an eye out on it. So I went to the hospital. My blood pressure was high again. They kept me there for about 4 hours while they tried to get it to go down, gave me pain medicine like Tylenol. I actually drank Tylenol for my head, like turned the lights off, tried to get my blood pressure to go down, and it finally went down about 4 hours later from being went to the hospital. And it wasn't the hospital that I planned on having her at, because I couldn't make it there because we lived like 30 to 45 minutes depending on traffic from the hospital. So this hospital was just closest to where I was, because I was puking. Like, I puked so many times, and like I showed up to the hospital covered in puke because I just was that sick. So they gave me medicine to stop my nausea, my headache, and get my blood pressure down. Once I got it down, they just sent me home. And I didn't have any problems until I started itching so bad. Like, my entire body was itching, and they couldn't figure out why. And they tested, there's like some kind of disease that has to do, or condition that has to do with your liver when you get pregnant. So they tested me for that, and my liver was fine, and all my labs were perfect and normal my entire pregnancy. So like, there was no reason that I was itching so bad. Like, it was like bugs were crawling. It was so freaking weird, and that lasted for about a week and a half or so. So then I went to the doctor, like my normal checkup, I want to say mid-October, and I started getting my blood pressure taken, and it was high again, but like higher than the other time. So they sent me over to labor and delivery, of where I actually ended up having Willow. So I went to labor and delivery. There they checked my blood pressure for every 15 minutes, pumped me with fluids, yeah, and they just kept an eye out on me, and they sent me home about 4 hours later, and with a 24-hour urine test, which, if you know what that is, it was actually October 13th. I remember because it was the day of my baby shower. No, it was October 12th. It was the day before my baby shower, because I had to turn in the 24-hour urine on the day of my baby shower. So I did the test. They were looking for protein in my urine. There was none. Sorry, my camera just went out of focus. So there was none in it, like abnormal amount or anything. So they're like, okay, you don't look like you're gonna get preeclampsia or anything like that, so we're not gonna worry about your blood pressure for right now. We're just gonna keep an eye on it. And yeah, so then I went home. I was fine, had normal doctor appointments all the way up until the end of October, with high blood pressure, but there's no other signs of anything else. So then I want to say in the beginning of November. It was the beginning of November, but I can't remember exact date. I want to say like November 1st. Probably. I went into the ER. Well, no, labor and delivery. They send you to labor and delivery if you're pregnant, unless it's like something that they can't handle in labor and delivery, like it has nothing to do with the baby. Well, just to be safe, my doctor said if I had any of the symptoms that I needed, like with preeclampsia, I needed to go to the labor and delivery. So I went to the hospital where I plan on having her. I went into their labor and delivery because I had major headaches. I was dizzy, like I couldn't stand up. I was so dizzy. I was seeing spots. I was throwing up again, and it was just really, really bad. So I went in, and I was having chest pain where I felt like someone was sitting on my chest and I just couldn't breathe. So I went into there. After being there for like 20 minutes, my heart rate spiked really high and like I couldn't breathe, and I was like, but my oxygen level was fine, so nothing was wrong with my lungs or my oxygen level. I don't know what was going on. And my heart rate was really, really high. So they admitted me to labor and delivery room. They knew I wasn't in labor or anything, but they just admitted me because they couldn't figure out like why. So I ended up staying there from Tuesday to Saturday. They told me every single day that I could go home. This car's getting me. That I could go home the next day, but I ended up staying because they took my labs and my platelets were dropping, which is not good. So they kept me to try to get them back up. They kept me for a 24-hour urine because when you get to labor and delivery at this hospital, they take a sample of your pee to check for protein, and they actually found some. And all the way up until that point in my pregnancy, I had no protein in my urine. So that was like abnormal for me and for anyone. It was like a high level. So then they tested with the 24-hour urine at the hospital, and there was high amounts, but not preeclampsia high amounts, because there's like certain like levels of everything that they look for when worrying about preeclampsia. So then that was like dismissed, and then they kept taking my labs and my platelets were dropping. Well, then they finally went back up a little bit. So once they went back up and I stopped puking, because I was puking at the hospital, couldn't keep my food down. It took me a couple days. Once all that happened, they sent me home on Saturday. So it wasn't the first. It was probably, I know it was the week of the 7th because of my sister's birthday. So the week of the 7th this happened. So that Saturday of that week, I was sent home. I then went back to the hospital Sunday night. And Sunday night, I was having these same symptoms, I was not having the chest pain. It was just throwing up and dizzy, which my doctor told me to come in, so I did, which I'm glad he did. And it was a different doctor because it was a Sunday. My doctor works Monday through Friday. So they took my labs again. I had so many blood draws and IVs. It was ridiculous. So they took my labs, and my liver labs came back abnormally high, but the doctor didn't seem concerned. That was on call. She said just to get it retested because I had been puking, and they said that's probably why your liver labs look high. So they just brushed it off and were like, there's nothing to worry about, it'll be okay. So I went home. At 8 a.m. I got a call, or 8:14 exactly, because I looked at the clock. I got a call from my doctor saying that I needed to come in. This was November 12th. That I needed to come in immediately, as soon as possible, to get my labs retested because my liver was abnormally high, and if it got higher or the same, I was going to have an emergency C-section, which I didn't know was this serious because the doctor literally just sent me home the night before. So I was like, okay, everything's fine. And I felt way better. Like, they pumped me with a bunch of fluids the whole week I was there and that night. So I just felt so sorry about that. So I just felt like 100% better. So I really felt like, okay, I have 4 weeks left of my pregnancy. I had 5 left when it all started happening, when I said they were weak, and then I was 36 weeks and 2 days on November 12th. So when I was 36 weeks and 1 day, I was like, okay, I feel better, I'm fine. When I was at the hospital, they told me that they weren't going to let me go full term, or they didn't think I was going to make it full term, and he'd probably pull the plug at like 38 or 39 weeks and not let me go to 40 or 41 because I had a bunch of symptoms that didn't make any sense. Like, preeclampsia was ruling out, stuff like that. Like, I had all these problems, and no one could make a connection on what was wrong, so they were like worried. So it was just really frustrating because I felt like so dizzy and so sick all the time, but like no one knew what was causing all this. So, well, they know now, but they didn't know then. So then I went into the doctor, got my labs retested and everything, and they were worse. So I was there, and they 20 minutes later were rolling me back to get prepped for a C-section, and then I had her at 1:54 p.m. For the C-section, I did have an epidural. I definitely recommend epidural. But the thing is, if you have an emergency C-section, sometimes they will not let you do the epidural. They will just put you to sleep and put a breathing tube and stuff like that in. But luckily, they gave me the choice, and I would so rather have a epidural than to be completely. So I forgot to tell you what. Sorry, my phone overheated. So I forgot to tell you what I was diagnosed with. I ended up being diagnosed with Hellp syndrome. It's HELPP syndrome if you want to look it up. It's super rare, so I think that's why they had a hard time pinpointing it, but it has to do with your platelets dropping and your liver labs and like liver function being bad. So, and it's all has to do with being pregnant. Like, I'm fine now, like everything's fine. So that's why I was having all these symptoms, because my liver was not doing good and my platelets were dropping. But once I had her, I felt 100 times better. So that is good. If you guys have any questions about the C-section or anything like that, just comment below. I'm gonna do a separate video of the recovery because I am still healing. I actually have an infection I got from the hospital in my cut, which sucks, but you know, it just happens. So it is currently still healing. I had her about 3 weeks ago tomorrow. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. So yeah, most people's wounds are closed by now. Mine is unfortunately not, but once it is, and it is 100% healed, I'm going to do a recovery video and like a truth of postpartum from a C-section, because when I got a C-section, I didn't have time to prepare. So after I looked stuff up, and I just want to give people that chance to hear my story. Thanks you guys for watching. Bye.